45-year-old taxi driver Dawitt Tessema is one of the most dangerous and vile men that you could ever come across, and for his actions he says, "I'm sorry." The Glasgow taxi driver had preyed on a woman who was worse for wear after she had spent the evening drinking. Now, because she was for all intents and purposes drunk after spending the night with friends at the Buff Club in Glasgow city centre, a taxi was called at roughly 2:40 a.m. on September 15th of 2023. Now, the victim, who has not been named, was classed as vulnerable. Now, Dawitt had received the job and he quickly made his way to the Buff Club. The young woman had entered the taxi and then asked to be taken to her destination. Now, she was slurring her words and the telltale signs of being intoxicated was clear as day. Despite sitting behind the passenger seat, the victim was animated, glassy-eyed and constantly moving. So Dawitt Tessema took his chance. Dawitt parked the taxi on a nearby street and then he turned round, extended an arm and reached through the console and tried to trace the victim's legs with his fingers going upward, but he could not reach. So the madman and Pred then went into the back of the Uber and pressed against the victim, placed his hands on her intimate parts. You do the math. The victim was described as being very drunk and she was only 19 years old, so she couldn't remember how the incident ended. However, the court heard that when she had woken up the next day, she had a headache and was very embarrassed. So, because the unnamed victim could not get the thought of what happened out of her head, she then confided in her flatmate, who then told her to make a formal complaint to Uber. It also has to be mentioned, because Dawitt had a morsel of conscience about him, before a complaint was made to Uber, he actually texted the victim saying, "I'm really sorry, please forgive me, please, please." So Dawitt had actually admitted to his guilt and the crime of SA. Now, but the complaint was made and the taxi driver was arrested and charged with SA. He is currently on remand after being found guilty and is awaiting sentencing after a background report is conducted. We'll see just how long of a sentence the judge imposes on him at Glasgow's Sheriff Court. Stay safe, safe.